have, let's scoot over a little bit, a great tag for you today. Well, I'll tell you who it was started by and who tagged me in just a minute, but first let me tell you, it is something I learned a lot from when I made these mistakes. I am hoping that you will also be able to learn from this on your luxury journey. So stick around and learn from my mistakes. Hi YouTube, Autumn Beckman here. Welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. My channel is all about luxury living on a budget, from high-end luxury handbags like that one right there to the everyday luxuries of life. If that sounds interesting to you, please make sure you subscribe, click the bell notification icon to be notified when I post new videos, and be sure to like the videos that you enjoy. Before we get started, I have to tease this Saturday's video. The tag that I'm doing today was started by It's Checks, and the tag is called My 3 Worst Luxury Purchases. I was tagged by Styled by Gwenny, who I will link below. I'll link both of their videos below, actually. And this Saturday, I am collabing with Styled by Gwenny and with Winnie B LV, and of course with Yota Style, because she can't do anything without us. And we are doing a Halloween special, and I have to tell you, and I'm not just making this up, this is the truth, guys. It's not fake news. It is going to be epic. Trust me, you have to tune in for this. Like, mark your calendars for Saturday. Plan some time to sit down with some hot chocolate or tea or whatever you drink and enjoy, and prepare to be frightened. Like, watch these during the day. Don't wait till the nighttime, because it'll be too scary. Okay, let's get to the tag. Again, my 3 worst luxury purchases. So what are they? Let's start with the very first Louis Vuitton item I ever purchased and kept. I don't know if I've ever told you, I bought an Agenda. An Agenda PM was actually the very first Louis Vuitton item that I purchased. It was a Mahina, if I remember correctly, but I sent it back because it didn't have rings. It had these little just hooks on the end, and I didn't know what to do with that, so I sent it back. But the first Louis Vuitton item that I ever purchased and kept was a Trevi bag, but it was the GM size. And if you've been watching my channel for a while, I'm sure you remember that. I had so many problems. Let me pull this and show you. This one is the PM size. I guess I have to go backwards a little bit. Being the first Louis Vuitton item I'd ever purchased, for most of us, I'm sure most of you can relate to this, it is very difficult to buy your first Louis Vuitton item, especially if it's a handbag, because they are so outrageously expensive. And most of us are not used to paying that kind of money for a handbag. Most of us, will buy things at TJ Maxx, or maybe a Michael Kors bag, or Rebecca Minkoff, or something like that, where maybe a couple $100, and even that's a lot. But then to jump up to something that's over $1,000, like, wow. I started watching YouTube videos, and when I started learning about how these bags from brand names like Louis Vuitton, Chanel, Hermes, how they very often hold their value. So if you ever need to sell them, you can get your money back pretty much. Sometimes less, sometimes more. General rule, generally speaking, you can get a lot of your money back. Whereas the contemporary brands, it's really not the case. That, for me, was justification for spending money on one of these bags that I had wanted for so long. I thought, well, I can get this, I can enjoy it, and if I ever do need to sell it, I can get my money back. I had been looking at Louis Vuitton bags for a while, and I always thought that the Trevi bag was the most beautiful bag that Louis Vuitton ever made. And personally, I still think that. I love it so, so much. And I found one. I tend to be a bigger bag kind of gal, because I carry larger things. So I found this Trevi GM, and that bag retailed for, I want to say it was it like $2,500, or was it closer to $3,000? I don't remember now. But I found it for about $1,400. It wasn't in perfect condition. It was a pre-loved bag. I had the money, so I got it. When I unboxed it, it was like angels singing. It was incredible. It was amazing. But over time, I started to realize that this was not the perfect bag for me, that there were problems with it. On the back of that bag, now this one does not have that problem, but on the back of that bag, you see where it has the pleating, you can see it's a little wrinkly right here. The pleating on that bag was all messed up, and I did all kinds of things. I could never get it perfect like this again, and it didn't arrive to me perfect. I remember it arriving in a box that was a little too small for it, and it was kind of squished. Also, it was a very heavy bag, as is this one, and but that one was even heavier because it was larger. And the opening I found to be rather small. I mean, it looks like it's a pretty sizable bag, right? It looks like it would hold a lot. But because of the opening being kind of small and the lining also, okay, you see how far out the sides stick out on the bag there? The lining does not go that far out. The lining is smaller, so it doesn't hold as much on the inside as it looks like it does on the outside. So all of these things combined eventually led me to sell that bag because I just wasn't carrying it. It felt like a piece of luggage every time I took it out. So there were all those problems, and I got that bag because I loved the bag, but I also got that particular bag because I thought the price was really good for what it was. And this is one of the lessons I've had to learn a couple of times before I finally got it, before it finally really sunk in with me. Especially when you're starting out, I was looking for bargain over quality. And that was a mistake. I have since learned, and one of my other purchases is exactly the same problem. It is worth it to pay a little more, even if a little more means a few $100s more. It is worth it to pay more to get a better quality item, because these are items that you may have for the rest of your life. And if you get something that's not the quality that you really want, and you look at it and all you see are the flaws, you're not going to be happy with it. So that, even if it was a bargain, that was a waste of money for you, ultimately. It's better to save up a little more and get something that you'll really be happy with every time you look at it, and you'll just love it every time you look at it. And in the long run, you won't miss that extra money, generally speaking. Which brings me to item number 2, which was exactly the same issue. It was a Facets Keychain. And I purchased one of these off, this is not the original one I purchased one of these off Fashionphile. I think these retail for like $250 maybe, or at the time they did. And I got it for $50 off, which I thought, oh, that's a bargain. But the one that I bought, it was scratched because it was used. That was normal. That didn't bother me so much. What did bother me, if you're familiar with Louis Vuitton, you know that this happens all the time. It had plating wear, so the gold had come off in many different places, and you could see silver along the hook, along the corners of the piece. While it was still a beautiful piece, I had that issue where every time I looked at it, I thought, why didn't I just spend the extra $50 and get a brand new one? Which eventually I did. I sold that one, and I went to Louis Vuitton last year and bought this brand new one that is still in perfect condition. I wish I had just done that from the beginning, except that I learned a lesson this way that I can then share with you. And this is another thing too, is I thought, especially with a piece of hardware like that, well, it's gonna get scratched up and tarnished and whatever anyway. Actually, when I have gone back and purchased brand new items or items that are in better condition, I don't find that to be the case. Now, maybe that's because I don't have one item that I carry over and over every day. I'm fortunate to have a small collection of pieces so I can switch things up. So the pieces that I do have don't get as much use. They don't get daily use for long periods of time. But what I have found is when I have a newer piece that's in better condition, it doesn't show the wear that if I had bought a piece that looks worn. None of the pieces, how do I say this? None of the pieces that I've bought that are better quality have shown that kind of wear yet. So that's a testament partly to Louis Vuitton, to these luxury brands and some of the quality of them, although the quality is not up to par all the time. We know that these days, don't we? And then some of that is also just me not using the items as much, or when I do use them, I'm careful with them. Some people are not so careful with their luxury items. So that was the big lesson that I learned. Now, the third piece that was my worst luxury purchase, I don't have it anymore, but I will post a picture up here. It's the Louis Vuitton Mini Denim Pleaty. Oh guys, I love this bag. It's so beautiful. It's so cute and adorable and sweet. I looked for this bag for well over a year. I was looking for something in great condition and at a great price. I finally found it on the RealReal. Forget what I paid, but I want to say it was around like $500-ish. So here's what happened with that. I bought that bag and it was like brand new condition. It had the box and dust bag and paperwork with it, like everything. The first time I used it, I realized it was not going to work for me. There were a few things with it, just the size wasn't right for me. It was very smushy. I prefer a more structured bag most of the time. I really wanted it to be a crossbody bag and I couldn't work out how to make that happen really well. and I found the clasp difficult to snap because of how squishy it was. So there were a few issues for me with that bag, as beautiful as it was, as much as I loved it. It just wasn't something that I would carry, and I knew that. And I kept it for, I think, a couple months, and then I sold it to one of my subscribers, and I gave her a great price. I sold it for about what I paid for it, plus shipping. Kind of wish I hadn't sold it. And it's not that I would use it. It's not that I'd be using it these days, but now those bags are going for like $1,500. That's another positive with Louis Vuitton that goes back to the beginning about why I made my first purchase, is sometimes there are pieces like this that you can hold on to and you can really make money off of them. So that was, I don't know, I'm hesitant to call it my worst purchase because I really loved it and I needed to have it to be able to find out that it wasn't for me, but it was definitely my worst sale. I wish that I had not sold that I had held on to it. Oh, and that stand that I keep, oh, and this is just a little tip for anybody who might have the Trevi bag. And this is the PM that I repurchased. Well, I never had the PM before, so I repurchased the Trevi, but I got it in the smaller size, which is much more manageable for me. And I got it in better condition. And I think I paid about $1,400. Did I pay that much? Did I pay $900 something? I don't remember now. But I bought it a while back. It doesn't have the pleating issue. I mean, there's a little bit right there, but that doesn't bother me. It's pretty much perfect. And I keep it perfect. This was another problem I had with this bag, was storing it and how to store it to keep its shape. Here's how you do it. This is the only way that works because stuffing it didn't work because the lining is smaller. Here's how you do it. You get one of these stands and you hang it. And then I have some little charcoal packs in the bottom that help. They help with the structure a little bit, but they're mostly for smell because it had a musty smell a little bit or something. So I just keep those in there. I hang it. So bags with pleats like that, I really suggest getting some of these little stands and storing your bags that way. It'll really help keep the shape of them. I do that with my Turenne too, and I will link those below. They're from Amazon. All right, those are my 3 worst luxury purchases. I hope that you've learned from my mistakes. I'm gonna tag some people, but I'm not gonna do it vocally here in the video. I'll just do it in the description box below. So make sure you go check out the videos by It's Checks and Styled by Gwenny, and anybody I might tag. And if I don't tag you and you'd like to do this video, consider yourself tagged. Thank you so much for watching. Hope to see you back here next time. I hope you and your loved ones are doing well, and I hope you have a fantastic day. Bye.